Hi everybody, Miranda here. This video is aimed at students who are considering going to university, and the idea is to get you started in the process of thinking about whether university is right for you and what you can do to start exploring universities and possibilities for your future. The first thing that I want to mention to you are two questions which I think are really important for you to be able to answer in terms of figuring out why you're going to university and whether it's the right choice for you. So the first one, which probably seems like a bit of a weird question to ask, but why are you going? And the reason it's important is because you need to know and feel confident that the choice that you're making is a good choice for you. If you're not clear on your reasons for going, you might later suddenly think, I didn't really want to go, or I didn't go and actually I should have gone. So some of the questions that you might want to be thinking about are things like, do I want to be exploring a new country? Do I want to meet new people? I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to give me some independence. It's going to be helping me get better in the subject that I'm interested in. It's going to give me the skills I need for the career that I'm interested in. Those are all really good reasons, but just be clear on what are your reasons. The other thing is to be thinking about is what's important to you. So for some of you, you might be focused on a university's reputation, for example. Others might be thinking about league tables, which universities are the best universities. I would always say the best one is the right one for you, but I know for some people they're particularly keen on going to ones that are considered the top ones. Other things that you might like to think about are where have ex-students gone on to, so they're called alumni. So, what is it that you're looking for, and is the university or even going to university going to give you it? There are kind of 4 areas that I'm going to talk to you about. That's where, what, why, and how. And I've split it into that because it's a sort of an easy way to categorise the different things that you're going to need to be researching and exploring. So the first one, where? The simple question is, do you want to be in the UK? Cost-wise, there are implications, but just before we get to that, just think about, is staying local the right thing for you, or do you want to go a bit further afield? And, different universities across the globe have different ways of teaching and different qualifications, basically, that they give you at the end. So it's worth having a look at what the options are, basically, in terms of where you can study. How about what you can study? So most people, when they talk about a degree, they're probably thinking of what's called a BA, which is a Bachelor of Arts. But you can also do a Bachelor of Science, you can do a Bachelor of Engineering, and those are all 3-year degrees. But other than that, there are other types of degrees. So there are things called HNDs and HNCs, which are the equivalent of 1 or 2 years of a degree. There's also a foundation year, which is a sort of a pre-university year. So those of you who maybe haven't quite got the qualifications, or you did subjects that weren't quite right for the degree you want to do, you can do a pre-year. There's also, just to get even more confusing, there's foundation years, which are the equivalent of a couple of the first 2 years of university. And there's also an art foundation, which is generally not at universities. Well, sometimes it is, but it's usually at a college. And it's a 1-year course which is free for those of you who are considering going on to an art degree. It's a really important step in that process to help you figure out what type of art you want to focus on. The majority of people will go and do a BA or a BSc, but lots of, there are other things that you can go and do as well. So it's worth having a look at them. Third question, why? We'd already kind of covered this a little bit in my opening bit, but it's again really important for you to know why you're picking that uni over another uni. What has it got to offer? And I know a lot of people, myself included, made decisions on where they were going to go based on things that maybe were not ideal. So where my friends are going, or the one that I've heard of. So, make sure you've done enough research that makes you feel comfortable. Even if it ends up being the one you thought it was going to be, at least you've compared and contrasted against other places. And last but not least, how? So are you able to access a student loan? Are there grants available that will be able to support you? Most universities have additional grants for certain groups of people. If you're thinking about studying abroad, you might have to raise some private finance, but there are other grants available as well. And then things like where you're going to live, how you're going to support yourself, all of those things are really important to start thinking about. Don't get overwhelmed by them. There's lots of help out there. We're one of them. But it is just, useful to start thinking about these things so you don't get completely freaked out towards the end of your time when you potentially have had an offer and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to do all this stuff. Those are some things to be thinking about right now. I'm going to put some resources at the end for you to go and explore. But at this point, it's just really crucial that you get that research in. If you can get to only open days, there's a virtual careers fair coming up very soon. I'll link to that later. But obviously this summer it's a bit tricky with open days not happening, but hopefully by the autumn term there will be some more things, or at least some virtual tours for most universities. So that's so critical. You've got to get yourself as much as possible to a location, ideally, go and visit, but at the very least see what it's like online, and start to answer some of those questions that I said at the beginning. Why are you going, and what's it got to offer, what's important to you, and is the university or are the universities you're thinking about the ones that are going to give you that. Okay, see you soon guys, take care, bye.